I was working as a prosecutor at the U.S. Department of Justice when I got a phone call from Solicitor Scarlett Wilson from Charleston, South Carolina. I got to know Scarlett because we both worked together on the murder of Walter Scott, who was killed by a North Charleston police officer in 2015. Scarlett and I had worked together to bring justice to that case, and ultimately the police officer was convicted and received one of the longest sentences of all time. And yet, for me, I didn't think that conviction alone was going to do very much to change how the justice system functioned in South Carolina. So Scarlett called me up and said, "We've got all of this data, we'd like to use it to make better decisions." And I wanted to help her. My only problem was I didn't know anything about data. So I turned to my alma mater. I called up George Washington Law School and eventually got connected with Professor Don Brayman, who, in addition to being a great lawyer and thoughtful legal mind, is experienced with data science and analysis. And Don said to me, absolutely, not only can we use data to better understand how they're making decisions, but we can bring students in to help us get there. And that was how JIL GW was born. Together, partnering with Professor Brayman, we established JIL GW to not only do cutting-edge research, but to bring students in on that process. The JIL GW 3-credit course is different than any course that exists in law school. We teach components that we think are essential if we're going to transform our justice system. Things like data and human-centered design and systems thinking and how to work in a team, storytelling. Each of these components are key to our theory of change about how we can improve and redesign our justice system. The first half of the course we spend working on some of these new themes in order to level set the playing field. We talk about how the justice system functions in reality at a very technical level, understanding the process from arrest all the way through resolution. But the key component of the experiential learning part of JIL GW is working with a real jurisdiction on a problem they have. Students who have worked with us have worked on everything about helping offices and crews alternatives to prosecution, helping understand their intake processes, or mapping out the system as it currently functions so that we can identify places where they can improve. Another key component of JIL GW is convenings. We believe that in order to move our system forward, we've got to bring together a lot of different skill sets and perspectives, including not only prosecutors and police, but formerly incarcerated individuals, victims of crime, community members at large. And JIL GW hosts a number of convenings every year talking about the issues that are at the forefront of our system. Everything from the impact of the most recent election to the impact of artificial intelligence might have, to some of the ideas about how we can integrate data and systems thinking to moving the system forward. And every year we bring together different voices with geographic diversity, with political diversity, because if we are going to solve the problems that our system is facing, then we're going to need to bring a lot of voices together to come up with some better ideas. The system is changing. We're facing a totally different landscape, and the expectations of what happens in America's criminal justice system are constantly evolving. And yet, what I have seen as I've interacted with lawyers and prosecutors and defense counsel out in the world is that very few of them have the background to take on some of these problems. We don't teach law students about systems thinking or storytelling or data, and yet that's going to be essential in how we can improve our system moving forward. And so JIL GW is built to do just that, not only to do cutting-edge research, not only to support jurisdictions who are at the forefront of innovating how we do justice, but also to educate a new kind of lawyer who is ready to go out into the world and to address injustice head-on by fixing the system.